Hello and welcome to Community Legal Services in East Palo Alto's Settlement Conference Clinic. Please watch this 6-minute video to learn more about your eviction settlement conference. First, let's talk about what a settlement conference is. A settlement conference is a meeting between you and your landlord or you and your landlord's lawyer. It is a chance for you to talk to each other and make an agreement to end the eviction case without going to a trial in front of a judge. Next, let's talk about 3 steps you can take to get ready for your settlement conference. First, you can make an appointment to talk to a lawyer at your settlement conference. Call Community Legal Services in East Palo Alto at 650-326-6440 to speak with our intake team. After you complete our intake forms, we will assign an attorney to meet with you about your case. Please remember that appointments are only guaranteed if you complete our intake process before your settlement conference. Second, read everything you have turned into the court. If you have listed any defenses in your paperwork, like paying the rent or repair issues in your apartment, be sure to gather any proof you have, like photos, emails, or receipts. The judge will not make any decisions about your case at your settlement conference, but having good evidence helps when you are negotiating with your landlord. Third, make a settlement plan. Be sure you know the answers to all of the following questions before you go to court for your settlement conference. Do you want to stay in your home or move out? If you want to move out, how much time do you need? And do you know where you will go? Do you owe any rent? Do you want to offer to pay? If yes, do you want to pay all at once or in a payment plan? Once you know your answers to these questions, you should make a settlement plan. Scan the QR code on your screen to get a copy of a plan that you can fill out before going to court. Now that you know how to prepare, let's talk about what will happen when you get to your settlement conference. You should have a letter from the court with the date and time of your settlement conference. The letter tells you how to join the conference. You can join in person at the courthouse, with your computer, or from your phone. After the conference starts, the judge will take attendance. When the judge calls your name, you will need to answer. The judge will ask if you would like to speak to a lawyer about your case. If you have completed an intake with our clinic, a lawyer will be available to meet with you. Next, the judge will ask you for your phone number and give you the phone number for your landlord or their lawyer. You will also get a phone number for a lawyer at the clinic if you will be meeting with them. After the judge takes attendance, you can start working on your settlement. If you are meeting with a lawyer from the clinic, you will speak to them first and get advice about your case. The lawyer may meet with you either in person or over the phone. After that, you will call your landlord or their attorney to make a settlement proposal. You will have the whole morning to talk to them and try to make an agreement. During the settlement conference, the judge might be able to help you and your landlord talk to each other, but the judge will not make any decisions about your case. Now that you know what will happen at your settlement conference, let's get into what settlement agreements look like in eviction cases. A settlement is an agreement between you and your landlord to end the eviction case without having a trial in court. There are 2 main types of agreements in eviction cases. In an agreement to stay, the tenant and landlord agree that the tenant can stay in their home. This type of agreement will usually say that the tenant has to pay any rent owed if they want to stay. For this type of settlement, you can agree to pay all at once or with a payment plan. In an agreement to move out, the tenant and landlord agree that the tenant will move. This type of agreement will say when the tenant has to move and whether the tenant has to pay any rent owed. If you make a settlement agreement with your landlord, one of you will need to put it in writing. The clinic can give you a sample settlement agreement if you need one. If your landlord or their attorney writes the agreement, be sure you understand and agree with everything it says before you sign it. Finally, let's discuss what happens after the settlement conference ends. What happens after the settlement conference depends on whether you have a settlement agreement. If you make a written agreement and give it to the judge at your settlement conference, you do not need to come back to court for a trial. If you and your landlord made a verbal agreement at the settlement conference, you will need to keep working together to put the agreement in writing after the conference ends. If you turn in a signed agreement to the judge before your trial date, you will not need to go back to court. Finally, if you do not have a written agreement, or if you have not made any settlement by your trial date, you need to return to court. If your case does not settle, you will need to be ready to present your evidence and arguments to the judge on your trial date. The judge will decide whether or not the landlord can evict you if you go to trial. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Please remember to call Community Legal Services in East Palo Alto at 650-326-6440 and complete our intake process if you want to speak to a lawyer about your settlement conference.